Hey there guys, it is me Alex, and today I'm going to show you how to play Upper Deck Entertainment's Shaman King QuickStrike game. Now, there are three different sets to the QuickStrike rules. This is just to take care of Shaman King. There's only one major difference between the Shaman King, the Pirates of the Caribbean, and the Avatar: The Last Airbender QuickStrike rules. The differences will be explained a little bit further because I want to make this procedurally instructed to make it as simple as possible for new people to learn. Now, before beginning, each deck needs to be 60 playing cards, followed by the one Shaman, King, Commander, Captain, the leader card. Now, you can't have more than 4 copies. I should more than 4 of the same card. I want to be as precise as possible here. Now, your leader card has 3 symbols on the bottom here, and each symbol has a specific meaning attached to it. But for people who are in the process of giving a hoot, all you need to know is that these 3 symbols mean if you have a card with a symbol attached to it, yeah, like right here. For example, Dragon Aura. There, it has a symbol in the upper left corner. You have to, if it has a symbol, it has to match your leader's 3 available symbols. However, if it is a blank card, that means it's generic. Anybody can play it. In the upper left corner here. So that's the key distinction to know for deck design. Now, your commander, your leader, has a chamber signature move, and that is activated later through charging zones. And so, as not to confuse terminology, I will get in describing that in a little bit. So, yeah, that's your main leader card, and it goes into the top zone. There are zones in the game, and these will be where they're placed. Your 3 different available cards are your strike cards, your teamwork cards, and your advantage cards. Each different card type is color coded, so it makes it a lot easier in case you get confused. Strike cards are played to defend or attack. In the upper right corner, you have a shield symbol followed by a number. That number is the intercept number. In order to stop an attack, you have to have an intercept value equal to or higher than the opponent's force from the attack that they used. Down below on the bottom, which is their force, it has a lightning bolt symbol attached to it. Now that symbol means your force. So if you were to defend an attack and then respond with that same ability, you then use that force. Um, and that's exactly what you do. I should apologize for saying that right out. Is you defend and attack with the same card whenever you do a strike, and I'll show that a little bit later in progression of play. For teamworks are played and put off into the friend zone in each in the area that it was played in. As I described later for how the zones work, if you were to play it during your yellow zone defense, you would put it into your yellow zone as an example. And each one has a permanent ability that only applies to that zone. And that's pretty much the only important thing you need to know about that. If it has an ability like say eliminate itself, which means to get rid of it, you do not need to have it in that zone. You just need to follow what the rules say for those specific cards, and usually it will tell you like your attacks in this zone get a bonus. Now, finally, to describe advantages, Advantage cards are temporary boosts. Every time you play an advantage card, you charge the zone in which it was played in. The reason why you want to charge zones is because if you have all three zones, which is the green, yellow, and red zone, if you have all of them charged, you are able to play the signature move of the Shaman King leader, the commander of the deck. Uh, you can only play those the commander ability at the start of a defense. You know, when you're being attacked on the start of you trying to counter it, that's the only time you can play it. For advantages itself, you charge the zone in which it was played in. So if you played it in your red zone, you then charge your red zone area. But they all have temporary bonuses, and the temporary could be is when you end your turn. So as soon as if you like defended your way if you were able to defend it, you know, your turn ends. If you could defend it and you lost a point, um, doesn't matter. At the end of your ability to defend, as soon as it's the next person's turn, all your ability, bonuses go away. So it's useful for primary, doing that one attack and then you're done. That sort of thing. And the thing that is important to note for both teamworks and advantages, if you play them, you get to draw again. Your turn does not end. Only when you play strike cards does your turn end. Now, when starting a game, we shuffle the deck. And then the first things you do is that, depending which game it is, of course, which version of the game, you put the top cards into each zone. For this game, it's 2. You know, for the Avatar, The Last Airbender, and Pirates of the Caribbean, it's 3. You put 2 cards from the top of your deck into each energy zone, so green, yellow, and red. And then you take the top 4 cards and you put it into your discard pile. The reason why I am separating this is for a game reason that I'll just tell you right now, is that you take the 4 cards that you discarded and the force, so you know the little lightning bolt attached to it, the force will determine who goes first, who gets to choose to go first. So you count all the force together from what you just discarded. So for me, I discarded a grand total of 15 force. Maybe my opponent has less, maybe more. Since I'm not doing a demonstration deck on this one, I'll just assume that I'll have control over the turn. So when starting the game, you decide. Ah, man, sorry about that. So when starting the game, the person who won control over it decides whether they get attacked first or their opponent gets attacked first. When that is determined, the person who starts the defense puts 1 energy from their discard pile. Anytime you gain energy, it comes from your discard pile. And then you take the top card from your discard pile and you put it into your energy zones, depending on what you've earned. And I'll tell you what you've earned in a little bit. So when first starting to be attacked, you put one of your one of your discard cards into the green energy zone, and then you are attacked by a 4 force attack. So something that has so that means I need a card with 4 intercept in order to play against it. And I gotta put the discard pile in the bottom section because that's where it belongs. It's leader, deck, discard pile. All the cards you play are played on the left side, you know, as an example. So I start in the green zone, the first defense wave, and then I flip the card over. I now get to choose whether or not I play it, if I focus it, or if I discard it. Now, for this ability, it has 4 intercepts, so I'm already good to go, and 5 force. That's, not a big deal. So I could play this right off the bat. Uh, but I'll describe those 3 different options that I just gave because they can be, they have specific terms. So if I focus, to focus is to take this card and to put it in the same zone to store it as energy. If I do that, I have to flip over the next card and start in the yellow zone. If I want to discard it, I discard it, but I still start in the next zone. So I'll start in the yellow zone after this. Now, if I actually want to play it, I have to look on the left side of the card, and there's 3 different tiers. There's there we go. There's the green, yellow, and red tiers. That determines how much energy I have to pay in order to play the card. Now, the thing that's important with the energy costs is, let's say, since this costs 3 green energy, what if I only had 2? If there's any energy cost requirements that you cannot pay because you don't have the exact amount in that zone, you can pay an energy type from the next zone down. So, like, if I only had 2 green and I needed 3 green, I could pay a yellow if I wanted to, or I can pay a red for a green. So I can just go up a level, spending energy. Um, and that's all you need to know about paying for your cards. There's also has an additional ability I'll tell you about because there's 3 specific abilities that are not explained on the card directly that you'll need to know later, and I'll tell you about those later. So I will play this, defend against the attack because it's 4 intercept against the 4 force, and it's a 5 force attack. Because I played this in the green zone, when my opponent is defending, they have to defend against the 5 force attack, and then they only get 1 energy from their discard pile to put into the green zone. If I were to say defend this from the red zone, my opponent would get a red, a yellow, and a green energy. So they get 1 energy per zone based on what how far they got into the attack. And that's all you need to know about attacking and defending. So when let's see here, I'll start getting some of the teamworks out here, because we'll explain that one. Oh no, we'll take care of the advantage stuff. But I got some teamworks here. Now, let's say you draw advantage card. You play your advantages. So like if I played in the green zone, I can charge my green card. Whenever you charge a zone, you just turn it sideways. If I charge all 3 zones, when it's my turn to defend, so starting at the green zone, I can choose to activate my chamber card. Now, usually chamber cards don't have a cost to them, or if they do have a cost, they have a pretty ridiculous power. So, like for this character, his ability is move up to 3 of your green Furyoku, which is just energy, because they're doing the Shaman King lingo. It's just energy to your yellow zone. So you get to upgrade 3 of your energy. That's what makes it so useful. After you play it the first time, you flip the card over, and then you restart the process by having all your charges, all your zones uncharged, and then you can then again repeat the process and charge all 3 zones, and then play the chamber card in the back, which is usually just a much better ability. Just as an example here, this one is move all your yellow energy to your red zone, move all your green energy to your yellow zone. So it makes it to where all your energy just gets upgraded at once, which is very, very nice for some abilities. As well as just having good stats, like 8 intercepts, 6 force. But does cost 1 red and 1 yellow energy to play it. And that is using chamber cards. If you get to the back row, charge it again, You then flip it over again and repeat the process. So you put it back to its front instead of on its back. Now, the last important thing to know about the rules for for combat is if you beat somebody, if they flip over cards in all three zones and they can't defend against the attack, if you have teammates in play when you win a fight, you get a free energy in the zone that they're in. So like I have Venster and Taoen on in the yellow field and in the yellow zone, red zone. So I would get a free energy in the yellow and red zone. The winner of the game is the best out of three. So first to get 2 points, beating the opponent. Uh, you do not get any bonus energy just for beating the opponent. You have to have teammates. And when the opponent is defeated, I'll have to check the rules to confirm again because I'm pretty sure I got it right. But the person who's defeated gets 1 free energy in their green, yellow, and red. I'm pretty sure, but I'll have to check again. All right, no, you don't. So I got that one wrong. Yeah, and the 3 bonus abilities that you have to watch out for is that there is an ability called pitch, an ability called tactical, and pitch means you discard the card instead of paying its cost to use the special ability. So as the example with sideswipe is pitch, put this in your advantage area. Your strikes have +1 intercept. Notice how it doesn't count as an advantage. It just says put it in your advantage area, so you don't get to charge your zone if you do that. Yes, and then the tactical ability makes it to where if you flip that card over on your when you draw that card, you can pay the tactical cost to discard the card that you just drew and then draw again. And then immediately, or immediate, if it says immediate on the card, you discard it. You use the ability and then discard it right away, like as soon as it's played. And yeah, that's it. If there's any issues about oh yeah, if there's negative numbers, it just counts as 0. Because there are some abilities where you get like -1, -1, -1, stuff like that. And then finally, if you run out of cards in your deck, what you have to do is you reshuffle all the cards that are on the field except it doesn't say whether or not it includes the discard pile. It just says reshuffle all the cards other than teamworks that are in play and use those cards as your deck. Then to write down the number that you had, or at least memorize it, and then start discarding cards from the top of your deck, into that area, and then take the 4 cards that are in your deck that are on top of your deck and put in the discard pile. You're basically just restarting the start of the game. And that's it. It's you don't really have to worry about priority of card abilities or anything like that because it's first come first serve. And yeah, overall this is just a really cool game. The big issues that you'll have to face is that the Shaman King version is pretty much only playable by itself because the energy costs of the cards reflect how much you start out with. So because the game starts out with fewer energy, things cost less than the Avatar and the Pirates of the Caribbean cards. And you pretty much will have it to where the Shaman King cards always win because you'll always be able to play cards just faster than your opponent will. Things like that. Um, so that kind of stinks, but what can you do, right? And if there's any mistakes that I've made, I will write down in the descriptions saying what those mistakes are. Have a nice day.